She would not allow me to be at the hospital when my baby was born.
You wouldn't allow him?
No, I was young and I just felt kind of ashamed and I didn't want to be with nobody at that time. I just wanted to be by myself.
I feel like it is Mr. Brown's baby because look at the resemblance.
What you feel
Right.
and what you know. Two completely different things.
Sometimes you don't have that person to just sit you down and say no. And you get yourself, that's what I don't like about all this little social media stuff. You post something and then everybody, yeah, girl, yeah, this and all this, yeah. And they will, yeah, you straight to mediocrity.
We often say looks can be deceiving, but they can also push people to the edge of confusion. Take Mr. Brown, for instance. The guy was standing in paternity court acting all frantic because the child looked nothing like him, and he couldn't continue to step up as a father without DNA proof.
My hairline's straight. Here's like an arrow.
All right, what you mean? That don't mean nothing.
Miss Parker, Mr. Brown.
I mean, obviously, you know that's your baby. It's time to step up, be a man. Damn, do what you have to do for your child.
Okay, that was amusing to watch, but that is not how the whole thing started. After meeting Miss Parker, Lithonia's man figured that he had finally met the love of his life. But the whole movie romance got ruined when she claimed to get pregnant within just 4 days of them getting together.
We loved each other very much. Then later on, she just started doing things. I remember one time later on in the relationship, I called her. I couldn't get in contact with her. I called her parents. I don't know shit. I called her dad. He was at work. I don't know where she at.
Wait, you had a relationship and it was going well and then she disappeared?
Yeah, just one day I decided to call and I was like,
Yeah, pregnant and disappearing into thin air. It was like she wanted to step into paternity denial. But in the plaintiff's defense, too much attention from her boyfriend just made her feel suffocated, and she had to take a break from him. Let's just play along.
Your Honor, I object. I feel like that I need to be free because at the end of the day,
I wasn't doing anything.
What you mean? I be stuck with the baby 24/7, honey, because at the
but I have to go to work and do stuff, so I'm supposed to be
you don't go to work. What job?
Hold on.
Hold on. Indeed, this just added more to the confusion, so the judge asked the baby mama to degloss what she had been really up to. So Miss Parker continued that her many insecurities and trust issues pushed her to leave the house at just a drop of a hat.
You saying you got to a point in the relationship where you felt smothered?
Where I felt like I couldn't go nowhere. Where I felt like I just stuck in the house 24/7. He just want to lay up under me, and I cannot go anywhere.
Are you serious?
Yes, Your Honor.
No.
Brown, you thought she was out with another man during this time?
I don't know what she was doing. She never told me anything. I call, no answer. I text, no answer. Call people, call parents. No one knows where she's at.
Going under the radar just like it does no good to anyone. However, instead of baby mama's odd way of dealing with her relationship, focus on the pregnancy part. Trunks out that though Mr. Brown loved the child and his mother, he refused to sign the birth certificate.
I was in the delivery room.
Did you sign the birth certificate?
I didn't sign the birth certificate.
Did you have a doubt?
Yes, a 50% doubt.
That's a big one.
Yes.
So you couldn't bring yourself to sign the birth certificate because you knew you had a doubt?
Yes.
What was that doubt based on?
Then the dates, they're not adding up.
You said the dates are not adding up? What about the dates didn't add up?
Well, like she said, she got pregnant during June. The baby was born in January.
See, there came the mess up in the dates part, and we know that when such notes hit, the judge takes out her conception calendar, and it showed that the baby was delivered at only 7 months. Nevertheless, the plaintiff claimed that her baby was premature.
So your testimony is that he was born early,
Yes,
very
Your Honor.
early.
Yes, he was born
Okay,
very
but
early.
that still doesn't matter about the dates because it was born early.
What you mean? Yes, it does. I had high blood pressure and I had heart problems.
Okay, but
Okay,
still.
You understand what it means to be premature, right?
The dates doesn't matter. You're still the father.
The dates don't matter.
What you mean? It doesn't matter.
Dates matter. They do matter a lot, Missy. Feeling and believing don't change paternity, do they? By now, it seemed like this mommy's assertion was based on her preferences rather than reality. Unfortunately, her brother also sided with her.
Is that he has trust issues, he has insecurity problems. Obviously, a blind man can see that that's his child. I mean, look at the baby, look at him. I mean, it's just crazy. Like I don't even know why we're here today.
Yeah, why are you here?
Obviously, you know that's your baby. It's time to step up, be a man. Damn, do what you have to do for your child. It's time to do something right.
I am doing what I do for my child.
What do you do?
About the insecurity part, Mr. Brown testified that all of his suspensions were instigated by her girlfriend in the first place, and no matter how hard he wanted his relationship to work, he could shake off the habit of disappearing.
I just wanna, I love him. I love him to death. But it's just this insecurity.
If you just tell me where you're going, then I wouldn't have no
I always
reason of
tell
cheating.
him, Your Honor, when I come come back.
How come you? Oh, when
I
you
always
come
tell
back,
him.
not when you're going. It's a difference in coming back and going.
No, it's not.
It was clear that the couple loved each other a lot and wanted the baby to connect them rather than drifting them apart. And that is what paternity court is all about. You know, picking up skeletons so people could move forward and start. Let's see if the environment has what they've been hoping for.
Mr. Brown, you are not Malachi's father. And I will give you the results of the lie detector test, okay? So in fact, her testimony that she had never cheated on you during the relationship was in fact true.
Hereditary hand deformity popped Miss Smith's bubble in the worst way possible. In any case, there was a chance that a stranger was her father, and this had women in pieces. Not knowing who to blame, the plaintiff started her testimony like this.
How'd you find out that he may not be and Mr. Jackson could be?
It was just one day at the house. My mom was just first kidding around, and then it got kind of serious after I had my child, who was born with 6 fingers, and that's when she actually told me that Mr. Jackson also had the 6 fingers as well. So it kind of ran in the family.
Finding out this bitter reality was a lot for the young woman, but she wasn't the only victim in this whole saga. Mr. Jackson was also outraged over the whole being left out for 28 years because he had evidence of being Kissimmee woman's father.
Can we see your hands?
I don't have no 6 fingers.
Oh, okay.
And Miss Smith, is it only one child? How many children do you have that have this trait?
2, the one I have now.
The child you're pregnant with?
Yes.
You can see it on the ultrasound?
Yes. And I also have a picture of my son's hand as well, and the doctor
Jerome,
even told me that it runs in the family.
If it is hereditary, then it leaves no doubt about Mr. Jackson being the father. But only if things were this simple. Apparently, Mr. Thompson had also done his research and claimed that there was also a chance that 6th fingers weren't passed genetically.
In your heart that she's your child, and yet this physical trait, this 6th finger that her child has.
Your Honor, I did research. Okay, I did my research on this 6 finger thing.
Let me see this.
It's hereditary.
Right? And it's not, okay, that's some
And your research
stuff.
says what?
This is just a mess. So we went back to look at how all of this, instead of in the first palace, turns out that Miss Gallivis had warped both men around her fingers, while they both had no idea about it. And when she got pregnant, she picked that defendant instead of Mr. Jackson.
What'd you think?
I thought I knew because when I was with Mr. Jackson, Mr. Jackson, we went together like over a year, and I didn't get pregnant, so I didn't figure, that he would be the father because I had met Mr. Thompson. And in a couple of months, I got pregnant.
Even though the guy at the altar wasn't the pick, he kept coming back for the child as he had a strong hunch that the baby could be his. But every time he came, Mr. Jackson was pushed back by the mama as she didn't want him around.
What happened? Are you pregnant? Yeah, it's not yours. She was very sarcastic. And I was like, okay. So I left well enough alone. I kept track of the time and everything. And when she gave birth to the young lady, I went there.
To the hospital?
Yes. Again, I was told, she's not your daughter.
But Mr. Jackson didn't stop there. He went to the lengths of contacting Mr. Thompson and telling him that he was also the possibility. Wow, what a guy. Still, he wasn't led around the young woman for this long, and now she stood at the podium also blaming him for neglection.
And I'm sitting here today listening to him say that she said that he couldn't be at the hospital, whatnot. And I was there, and you asked me to leave? I'm not nowhere in this picture.
However, Miss Gallivis refused to paint as the villain in the situation in her words. Both men knew about the plaintiff and chose not to step, which was reason enough for her to not depend on them when it came to bringing her daughter up.
The issue when a woman has told me this is not my child. How am I
But you
going to
knew
push
that
the
you
issue?
had relationship with me. You still could have came and tried it.
So what you're saying
And he didn't come around.
despite the fact that I was telling you one story,
Right.
you should have done something else.
Yes, Your Honor. He could have came for it just like I could have did.
How could I?
But he didn't do it.
Both men were upset about being labeled as the deadbeat, and Mommy had a hard time being portrayed as a bad mother, but they were all ignoring the fact that this was not about the trial was held to bring closure to the young plaintiff. So let's see if the result serves that purpose.
Gallivis, Smith versus Thompson, Jackson, when it comes to 28-year-old Keyshawn Smith. It has been determined that her biological father is Mr. Thompson.
Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you.
Apologize, Ronald.
I'm so sorry, baby, I wasn't there.
Mr. Jackson, you're okay?
What would be your reaction if you tapped into the conversation of your wife revealing paternity secrets? As you can see in this case, such conversation led to Miss Jacobs being abandoned on her very 14th birthday. And today she demands an explanation for such brutal treatment by her father.
Ms. Jacobs, you claim that your world was shattered just after your 14th birthday when your dad suddenly up and disappeared.
Yes, Your Honor.
Today you say you've brought him to our courtroom to demand answers.
Yes, Your Honor.
So, things got crummy when intoxicated mommy dropped the bombshell of paternity, not knowing that the truth was being heard by her husband. Alcohol shots hit hard on the eavesdropping better half.
We were outside celebrating with 4th of July. I heard an argument inside the house. So I go in to see what's going on, and my ex-wife, her mother and her sister was in there, and she was screaming at her mother like, well, she was drinking, so she was being belligerent and stuff. She's like, well, you know there's a chance they're not his kids, and I don't know what to do.
However, it slipped that the plaintiff was unaware of the wicked present her mother got for her. It turned out that her mother's confession ruined her life, but she blamed her daddy for bad events in her life, so she cried her heart out in the letter like this.
No, I actually just seen him walk out of the house. He was really angry, so I didn't understand what was going on at all. So after that, we ended up being put in foster care. And when I was in foster care, my father had left. And we were in Florida at the time. He ended up moving to Ohio.
Man, that was heart-shattering, as it was apparent that Miss Jacobs was paying for her mother's false actions. Further, it came out that the young girl's daddy issues destructed her into getting pregnant at 16 due to the damage her mother caused, and no one bothered to support her. Poor child.
I didn't understand until I was 16 years old. It was really hard. I actually ended up getting pregnant when I was 16 just to be emancipated.
Really?
Yes, Your Honor.
So you got pregnant on purpose?
Yes, Your Honor.
It's obvious that you were looking for the family you didn't have.
Yes, Your Honor.
Up next, the defendant said that the plaintiff's mother's infidelity had ripped him apart from his daughter, as numerous times he caught her cheating on him. He stated that once her co-worker spilled the beans about his wife swindling, so he put his detective hat on and caught her red-handed like this.
So I go out looking for her, and I start out at the Walmart where I normally know that she goes, and I caught a guy down there that I knew worked with her at her job. And I asked him if he had seen her. He's like, well, no, she's probably hanging out with this guy that she's always meeting.
Wow. I guess mommy had a nerve, as Ms. Jacob revealed that at the hospital, she demanded her father to be there for her, but the woman gave her a shut-up call with, "He was not your father." Her heart exploded again.
When I was 16, I told my mother that I didn't want to be around anymore, that I wanted my dad to come down for my daughter's birth, well, her birth. I had her when I was 17. And when my mom found out, she was like, I don't know why you would want him to be there. He's not your real father anyways. That means he's not her grandfather.
Dude, I feel bad for the young girl as her happiness and peace have been robbed by her mother, but it was not enough yet, because further it got slipped that the daughter caught her mother sleeping with one of her acquaintances. And when she blurted out, "Mommy acted innocent."
My dad was at work, my mom was home, and a family member of mine came over to the house. They ended up taking a shower together. I went into the bathroom, I was like, Mom, what are you doing? She goes, I'm just getting a shower, go away. So I went into the living room, I was watching TV, I was watching cartoons, I'm a little 5-year-old. So I went, and when they came out of the bathroom, they went into the bedroom.
Further, the plaintiff disclosed that after years when her father contacted her back, she thrashed him in a rage, but he did not give up and explained the whole saga. She felt awful.
When I actually just got back in contact with my father after 5 years just a month ago.
Really?
Yes. So he did show me all the paperwork and everything like that. I felt horrible. I really did, because I told him I wanted nothing to do with him. So I felt like the most horriblest daughter on the face of the earth. I felt like I didn't deserve to be around my dad at that point in time.
Therefore, it was obvious that Miss Jacobs' life was botched up by her mother, yet she mustered up the courage to explore the answers she needed, and both parties were ready to ride on the paternity riddle. So let's get those results and see if they had a happy ending or not.
Mr. Walker, you are Aisha's father.
I love you.
Well, I hope that now that you have the truth.
Babies are having babies. Get ready for a roller coaster ride of love and drama. Picture this. A high school sweetheart gets pregnant, but now the man denies being the father. What's even crazier is that he suspects his friend might be the dad. Hold on tight, because this case is about to take a wild turn. We're diving into a battle where children are caught in the crossfire. What could have happened that made him question his friend's involvement? Ms. Shands, devastated by her first love's denial, only wants one thing: to reunite her family. Will she succeed? Let's find out.
Miss Shands, you appear in court today because you are devastated that your first love and the person you lost your virginity to is now denying your 15-month-old son, Aiden. You say once you prove to the defendant that he is the father, you hope you two can finally be a family. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Meet Ms. Shands, the queen of mystery. Her ex-boyfriend claims she's a pathological liar and has cheated on him multiple times. No wonder he's questioning if the son is his. But here's the twist. After just one fight, she starts messing around with his friend. Ms. Shands doesn't deny it. She finds it amusing because he did the same with her friend. Well, they say what goes around comes around. And this time, it's all fun and games until she finds out she's pregnant. Brace yourself for the next chapter of this tangled web.
That, like, when we had gotten into that one argument, we broke up, and then that was that, and she started messing with my homeboy, and she started messing with multiple people.
Your Honor, me and his was close friends once before.
They was, but they
used to come back and tell me that Mr. Amir, he was messing with one of my friends.
Hold on tight because we're diving into the depths of a scandalous affair. Ms. Shands was secretly involved with both boys. Scandalous, right? But here's the real shocker. She claims the child belongs to Mr. Hollis, not the other guy. But wait, there's more. She told Mr. Hollis and his mother thought that the baby could be the other man's, but conveniently forgot to mention it to him. What's the motive behind this confusing game? It's a puzzle no one can crack. Get ready to unravel the truth.
You find out you're pregnant. You tell the other guy first. What was his response?
Well, he was happy. He was happy. I told him, like, not as soon as I got pregnant. He ended up finding out on the street.
The judge is scratching their head in confusion. Ms. Shands is keeping a secret from the other man, the potential father of her child. She claims he already suspected it and heard rumors on the streets with people saying the kid looks like Mr. Hollis, but she never came clean. And guess what? Mr. Hollis even wrote a song about their beef. Ah, the ways of the young generation. They express their feelings through music. Can this tangled web of secrets ever be untangled? Let's find out.
At what point do you just say, you know what, I don't think you're the father. I think Mr. Hollis is my child's father. Do you ever have that conversation? Do you ever just come clean?
With the friend?
Yes.
No, I never even talked to him about it.
Amidst the chaos, there's something undeniably beautiful about this case. Regardless of whether Mr. Hollis is the biological father or not, a bond has formed between him, his mother, and the little boy. The child's face lights up when he sees them, and they adore him. It's a connection that could last a lifetime, defying biology. Prepare for an emotional journey that explores the power of love and family bonds.
Mr. Hollis, what kind of relationship do you have with Aiden?
It's a real strong relationship. Like, I got attached, like, real fast. I can't even, he loved me. Like, every time I come around.
So you have a real bond with this baby. Miss Shands, has this other guy developed a relationship with Aiden as well?
Not as really. Like,
Drum roll, please. The moment of truth has arrived. Is Mr. Hollis the real father or not? The judge unveils the DNA reports and it's official. Mr. Hollis is not the biological dad. The revelation hits Ms. Shands hard, knowing that her child has formed a bond with Mr. Hollis and his mother. Now, it's time for Ms. Shands to reflect and make wiser decisions as she navigates the path ahead. Will she find a way to keep her family united? Let's hope for the best.
Mr. Hollis, you are not the father. I see tears in your eyes, Ms. Shands, because I know how desperately you wanted Mr. Hollis to be Aiden's biological father. Their families formed a bond with your son.